Well, it's not flooding or rain, so that means it's a hot and muggy day, humid day in Alabama. I don't have a chair to sit in. I tried to find one, but we don't have any out here. So I guess I'll be standing to do a reading from the Book of Jacob, the sequel to my book, The Preacher, which just recently came out. Chapter 1. Will you stop it? Sarah whispered, slapping Mark's hand as he tried to swipe a third hors d'oeuvre from a platter. Hey, I'm starving, he said, matching her whisper. How can you be starving? You just had 2 deer burgers before we left. That was just a snack. Oh, brother. Jonathan smiled and shook his head. He was amazed at how the two of them bickered like brother and sister. Then again, since they had all met, they really were like a family. Sarah gave up on trying to contain the human eating machine and turned her attention to the ceremony in front of them. It was an outdoor wedding. The couple stood upon a specially made platform for the occasion. The bride looked stunning, but she was looking past the bride and groom. There, performing the ceremony, was their friend, their leader, and the man she loved, Jacob Cross. She smiled at him, and he returned the gesture. David, Jacob asked, do you take Anna to be your lawfully wedded wife, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do you part? I do, he said. Anna, do you take David to be your lawfully wedded husband, for richer or for poorer, in sickness and in health, till death do you part? I do. Then by the power invested in me by God Almighty, I now pronounce you man and wife, and may kiss the bride. At that, everyone clapped and cheered. Everyone then began to line up to congratulate the new couple. As Jacob stepped down, Sarah hugged him. You did wonderful, Jacob. I can't believe you never performed a wedding. Before anyone else could say anything, the hyperactive father of the bride ran up and grasped Jacob's hand with both of his and began shaking it. Thank you so much, Brother Jacob. Everything turned out perfectly. I know things began a bit rocky, but we rebounded nicely. How is your arm, by the way? Jacob pulled up his sleeve to reveal a blood-soaked bandage. It's fine, like the doctor said. It's not that bad of a wound. I just bleed a lot. Yeah, Mark said. We almost had a first. Wedding canceled due to minister collapsing from blood loss. They all laughed. But seriously, Jacob, young Brian didn't mean it. He's just rather uncoordinated. Oh, I know, Jeffrey. Accidents happen. No harm done. I'm glad you feel that way. The poor kid's been so nervous. He probably didn't even realize he was carrying the knife blade out. He wanted so much to help with the wedding. He's loved Anna since he was 10. As I said, no harm done. Now go over there and kiss your beautiful daughter and welcome your new son-in-law into the family. Okay, waiting over. Let's go get some chow, Mark said. Do you ever think about anything but food, Sarah asked. Occasionally. You guys had better have a full-blown buffet at your wedding. They turned as they heard a sound of a knife tapping on a glass. This got everyone's attention and all went silent. May I have your attention, please? I would like to propose a toast to my beautiful daughter, Anna, who has grown up way too fast, and David, my new son-in-law. May the two of you be as happy as my wife has been the last 30 years. Everyone applauded the couple. Jonathan stood up and took the floor. I would also like to propose a toast. I know this day belongs to the bride and groom, but I would like to remind everyone of another wedding taking place next month. It will be the wedding of my 2 dearest friends, Reverend Jacob Cross and Sarah Mist. This received the biggest applause of all. Sarah blushed, but looked into Jacob's eyes and realized she could not wait for the day to finally come. I believe this is going to be the wedding everyone has been waiting for, Jonathan said. Later that night, they all had dinner at Jacob's house. They sat around laughing and telling stories until midnight. In the 16 months they had known each other, they had become closer than anyone could have imagined. Oh my, Jonathan said, I can't believe how late it's gotten. I'm afraid I'm going to have to bid everyone good night. Yeah, Mark said, yawning like a bear. It's time for me to call it a night, too. If I don't get my 12 hours, I'm worthless all day. I guess it's time for all of us to get to bed, Sarah said, standing up. Good night, guys, Jacob said, walking into the door. Night, buddy. You coming, Sarah? Mark, I believe Miss Sarah and Jacob would like to say goodnight to each other. They just did. Jonathan almost slapped his own head at Mark's density. I mean privately, Mark. Oh, okay, I gotcha. But if you're not out in 5 minutes, I'm assuming the worst in breaking down the door. Duly noted, Jacob said, smiling. As Jonathan and Mark closed the door behind them, Sarah and Jacob kissed and embraced each other. All Sarah wanted to do was stay in his arms the whole night. As Is anything wrong, Sarah? What? You've been kind of quiet all day. What is it? I I just want to be with you. He laughed. You've been with me all day. No, I mean I want to be with you. Oh, well, we're only a month away from being married. I know, but I'm just excited. It's hard to wait. I haven't been with a man since the night before I met you. Plus, I love you. I've never been able to say that about a man. I love you too. Is that all that's bothering you? Well, you're nervous about the wedding, aren't you? He asked, reading her mind. Yeah, a little. Why? I'm going to be a preacher's wife, Jacob. Do you know how dirty that makes me feel? I thought we had discussed this. What is in the past is in the past. You were saved and I baptized you myself. You are a brand new person. I know, but it's hard to live in your shadow. Someone as good as you, it's hard to live up to your image. I'm far from perfect, Sarah. God knows it. But you turned all of our lives around. Like I said, I haven't been with a man in a year. Mark has been sober all that time, and Jonathan socializes with everyone from beggars to rich guys. You did all of that, Jacob. No, God did all that. Well, you deserve some credit. You're so wonderful. Can't you just ask me if I do and marry us yourself? Good night, Sarah. Aw. See you tomorrow, she said, giving him one last peck on the lips. After she closed the door, Jacob thought about everything that had changed in his life over the last year. Jonathan, Mark, and Sarah had all become such a big part of his life. They had fought off a demon that threatened to destroy the world. Then they had settled into this small town where he had gained a new congregation. And everything had been perfect ever since. He still remembered the He still remembered the day 5 months earlier in which he had asked Sarah to marry him. It was a beautiful fall day with golden leaves falling all around them. He asked Sarah out to a picnic with just the two of them. Mark and Jonathan knew of his plans and made themselves scarce. He had looked into her eyes as she chewed on a bite of strawberry. He had loved her since the first time he laid eyes on her, but the circumstances were a lot nicer now. When she turned her attention away to look at the beautiful scenery, he pulled the ring out and held it in front of her. When she turned to him again, her mouth froze as she was about to take another bite of strawberry. She swallowed hard and a tear ran down her cheek. Is this what I think it is? Yes. Will you marry me? After a pause, she said, aren't you supposed to be on one knee and not sitting on your butt? They both laughed before another silence. Yes, I'll marry you. After that, they kissed more passionately than ever. Before long, they both felt like they needed to jump into cold water. Now here they were a mere month away from being man and wife. Could life get any better? Jacob stretched and began walking up the stairs. He was halfway up when a heaviness came over him that stopped him dead in his tracks. An odd yet familiar feeling filled the pit of his stomach. Then the voices began. Oh my God, what have you done, Jacob? Look at his eyes, he's possessed. Please, God, I don't want to die. I swear I will never take part in the mockery that is marriage. I will never perform a wedding. Please, God, I don't want to die. Jacob, what have you done? Jacob, I never meant to hurt you. Please, God, I don't want to die. When the voices stopped, he felt like he was going to collapse. He then pinpointed what this familiar feeling was. It was the feeling he had in the dream that started the whole escapade with the hooded demon. It was dread and fear. He was afraid of what was at the top of the stairs, though he had no idea what it could be. The further he walked up, the thicker the air got. By the time he reached the top, he could barely breathe. He could almost see the air. Walking into his bedroom, he knew something was wrong, and he felt like there was something in the room with him. He felt faint. Something had to give or he was going to slip into unconsciousness. He looked around the room and saw the source of the disturbance. The mirror. There was a black distortion all around it. It was as if he could walk into it and enter another dimension. He stumbled over with the strength in his legs failing and hesitantly looked through the glass. He gasped as he saw what his reflection revealed. There he was, with burning red eyes and smiling deviously. My God, Jacob, what have you done? Look at his eyes. Please, God, I don't want to die. His reflection then reached through the mirror as if the glass were water and took him by the head. He slammed it into the mirror that was now solid and sent shards shattering everywhere. All went black. Well, that's your sample of the Book of Jacob, available on Kindle for $2.99, along with the Preacher for $2.99, or you can get the paperback that's available now, or read it for free with Kindle Unlimited. Check this out, The Preacher out, and like I said, there's going to be a third book, and check out my other books, The Bone Spirit, Accents of Horror, Artemis, and Snowy Pines, and I guess this video is running long, so that'll do it for this video, and happy reading.